Hello, Internet. So, this week is a personal one, and it's explanatory. So I'm basically going to explain the premises of the entire project that I've been doing and how it's actually getting started now. So, within life, we make a lot of decisions. That's just part of it. And the way I envision this, and I see it as an analogy, is basically there's a forest with multitude of paths, and you can take any one of these paths. But the thing is, some of these paths that you take, we tend to stick with them for the long term because of cognitive biases and the sunk cost fallacy and all that good stuff. But one specific path that I think is critical, and there are many critical paths, but this one is resonating with me the most, is a career path. And over the last, I'd say, 6+ months, I've been contemplating the path that I've chosen and the career that I've been in for the last, 6 years. And all of my friends, coworkers, and family have taken a reactive approach to their careers, where they've basically accepted the career they've either stumbled into or has been suggested to them by a loved one, most likely a parent, saying that this is a stable way to go. So getting a college degree and then jumping into a corporation and having a stable income and acknowledgement and all that stuff. And that is a good path to take if that's something you want to do. And I guess what I'm getting at is I've decided to step away from my career and take a step back. And it's a temporary step back, but it's a step back so I can transition into something that is an alternative path for me. And the project that I've been working on, the title of it that I'm calling it is called The Road Less Traveled. And I'm calling it that because there are many roads that I want to experience and I want to explore, I want to wander down. And to do that, I would like to dedicate time to it. So I've decided to take about 4 or 5 months to dedicate to this project. And this project is kind of like a knowledge retreat. So it's not like I'm taking a vacation off or anything like that, or taking a temporary retirement. This is a project that will take more of my time than my regular job did, and it's going to be quite intense. And the way that I'm structuring it is it's going to be basically based around macro problems, and each of those macro problems I'm going to dive into subsets of the problem to learn more about industries, companies, peoples, etc. The two big problems I want to dive into first that interest me most are going to be climate change and space colonization. And for example, one of these, climate change, I'm going to dive into subsets of that. So the problem of climate change, then maybe the renewables industry, and then dive a bit deeper into that, saying, okay, what about the storage problem with renewables or the battery science underlying it? And each of those subset of ideas and problems and questions are going to be, I'm going to spend a week on each. And at the end of each week, I plan on putting out a post with a summary of my learnings and the summary of the questions and the thoughts and the insights that I've derived from it. And then also a short video basically summarizing some insights from it. And I've been going through practice topics to kind of get into the rhythm of things. And I have 13 weeks worth of content on my website, so you can go check it out if you'd like. There's a variety of topics on there, some relevant to the problem, some aren't. And it's basically just to build up the cadence and the skill sets needed to do this on a regular basis. So the reason I chose these two macro problems are due to the fact that they interest me. So first of all, I want to find something that really interests me. And the other thing is I want to find something that I think is genuinely impactful for humanity in some way, shape, or form. And after spending about 4 or 5 months on these different problems, and I may come up with more than just the two I've mentioned, but the end goal here is basically to understand to a point the different problem spaces, also the industries within those, companies, people, etc., to really kind of get a grip of what's happening in these areas, and then find one and choose one that I want to kind of shift my career towards. And that would eventually be me meeting people in the industry, meeting people in governments and non-for-profits and think tanks, etc., working in these spaces, and trying to basically build out an understanding of the space and where I can contribute. And my hope here with this entire project is to hopefully inspire some of you to realize that there are alternative paths that we can take in this world. And we don't necessarily have to always stick with what we've decided on. Because me personally, I've been in the payments industry. I've been in quote unquote digital strategy for 5 to 6 years. And that consisted of me diving deep into the tech of payments, banking, and fintech, and finance, etc. And that is useful, that is interesting, and that is enjoyable, but it isn't necessarily the proactive path that I would have chosen for myself if I had the opportunity. And right now I think is the opportune time for me to do that. So I hope that this is inspiring for some of you to maybe take a step back, maybe not as full as I'm doing, but maybe take an evening, a weekend, or a week to think about what are the alternative paths that I would like to explore for my future career, both that are interesting to me, but also that are impactful for the people around me. With that said, if you're interested, subscribe to the newsletter, follow me here. I'll put out all the posts here on LinkedIn and wherever else. And yeah, Internet, I'll see you next week on the official kickoff of The Road Less Traveled. See you later.